All right, so I'm going to try to make this a pretty quick video. The code that we're going to use is super short and relatively straightforward, using some similar ideas to what we've used before. So what I did is I made my week 6 Python file basically by copying and pasting or by saving as my week 4, because we're going to go back to our quantitative variables. And last thing we did with the quantitative variables was make these histograms, and I had a color scheme for each of my variables, and they were already, data managed and everything, so they're kind of ready to go. So the two things we're going to do for each of our variables is we're going to get what's called summary statistics, and you'll notice that it has how many data values are in your data set. It has the average or mean of all of those. This thing called the standard deviation, which we'll explore relatively soon. We'll start exploring the standard deviation, maybe even this week if we get to it. And then it has that 5-number summary that makes the box plots that I talked about before. So for my sibling count, there were plenty of people that had no siblings, and 25% or a quarter of the data set had one or fewer siblings, and half of them had 2 or fewer siblings, and 3/4 of them had 4 or fewer siblings. But then there were a few folks that had 20 siblings. The max was 20, and you'll notice that on the box plot, I've got, exactly those values that I saw in my summary. But because all these are outliers, this isn't the max. This is the max. This last outlier at 20 is the max. And this is just the last data set that's within 1.5 times the width of this box in the middle, away from the edge of the box. So this is exactly showing both the numbers that create the box plot, and then I've got the box plot right next to it. So syntax is super easy. You just put whatever variable you're using, and then .describe, and then don't forget your parentheses at the end of that, and that gives you this summary statistics. And then over here, it's just SNS because we're using the Seaborn package, .boxplot because we're making a box plot, and then you tell it what the variable is, and then give it a color. If I don't give it a color, then the default is that kind of drab gray. So I'll just show you what the default looks like. It's kind of that drab gray blue, which, isn't the end of the world, but I wanted to I didn't match this color perfectly, but I wanted to have that kind of reddish for the sibling count and then bluish for the age diagnosed. So I did exactly the same kind of thing for the age diagnosed variable. Notice there's no outliers over here. It's relatively symmetric, just a little bit skewed right, which I kind of see over here as well, as opposed to this one that's super skewed right, which I see over here. All right, that's all there is to it. Made it in 3.5 minutes. So have a good time making your own box plots. Talk to you later.